All right, we got the blue Touareg out of the shop. We got the black one in. This is our 2004 V10 TDI Touareg. Here's the motor we're gonna be putting into it. Right there. First we got to pull this one down. Pull the motor out, swap the tranny over, check everything out, and then get it back together. See if we can get at least one running Touareg. I think first, before I do that though, I'm just gonna run my scanner through the codes. I know it doesn't do anything, but just to kind of show it. Okay, so here's another thing that has been bugging me, is trying to get this thing to power up. It's been sitting on the house charger. It's acting like the battery's dead already. There's the blue light on the on button. But see if it'll focus for it. There's nothing on the screen. Push it once, push and hold it, nothing. So again, you can see battery shows that it's charged. %, but it wouldn't turn on until I put the charger on. Now we're trying to start the app. Goes like that. I've probably been doing this for the last couple months. Say at least 6 months. It's just steadily getting worse. It used to be, we started it just like 2 or 3 times you had to touch it. Now you can see it doesn't matter how many times I do it. Sometimes it seems to go longer than the other. So this doesn't work. So we try this. Okay, we go back to here. Still not working. Okay, now let's see if she's gonna work. Air compressor's on. Oh, sounds like compressor up. Temperature. Volkswagen. Standalone. US and Canada. It's the 5-liter BKW Touareg. It says 2003, but it's supposed to be 2004. 5-liter. Oh, there it is. So, yeah, that's right. Okay, it's funny, it says sedan. Hit yes, and we'll do a diagnostics control unit, engine control module 1. Trouble codes. Got the battery charger on it, it's all reading. 11 volts. Glow plug indicator, glow plug module, steering column electronics, engine speed, circuit. I'm thinking this is maybe why it doesn't want to start. Ignition, distributor, engine speed, in-op signal circuit. I'll have to look that up. Because if I put the brake on, it doesn't even click. Oh, it tried to. Ooh. Maybe we should just hold off. Let her charge for a bit. Let's see if we can read the other computer. We'll clear these DCCs. Yes. Okay, full codes are erased. What we'll do is we'll just check codes one more time, see if that one comes back. Oh, that's cool. So then we go back. That was ECM1. Let's see if we can find engine control 2. Triple codes. Engine speed 1711. Control module faulty. Huh. Not sure of this one. Automatic low time control relay low circuit. Electric circuit. Oh, we'll clear them. At least we can get to. At least we can communicate with both computers. It's better than the other one. No faults detected. Oh shoot. One more time. Alright. I don't know, what do you think? We gotta look up those two codes and then let the battery charge for a bit. Okay, so we had an engine speed error code, so I figured since the engine's cranking, it didn't ever cranked before, it wouldn't even hit the starter. Figured I'd check to see if we're getting any signal from the crankshaft or the camshaft speed sensors. So we got our traces up here. Hopefully we see something when we go to turn it on. Let's try it. So we see camshaft. Sorry, I turned the key too far. We could see the camshaft sensor signal, but not the crankshaft. So it looks like the crankshaft position sensor. Or we'll do it one more time. Well, kills the signal. Okay. Oh well. But yeah, you could see in the video where we were seeing crankshaft or camshaft position reading, but no crankshaft. So I'm guessing the crankshaft position sensor is out. And this is mounted, that sensor is mounted behind the engine mount. And I believe either way you have to drop the motor for that. Now my concern is that there was a lot of weird plasticky crap in the filter housing, and there's a horrible smell of really badly burned oil on this coming from this engine. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just swap the motor, and at least we know this one isn't seized up, which is what I was worried about before. So I could easily tear this down, re-bearing it, reseal it, clean it really good, take some measurements, and then build it back and put it in. So we're gonna go ahead and just drop the motor, swap it out with the other one, so we know that signal's working. And tear this one down and check see if we can figure out where that plastic crap that we found in the oil filter is coming from. And then if it all checks out good, we'll go through, reseal it, and re-bearing it, make it good, and reinstall it in another Touareg. All right, so to get started here, I'm going to be pulling off the VW. I don't think anybody's had this motor apart. Can't do it one-handed. We'll pop that off. Should be a screw in there. We'll take our grill off, and then we'll move from there. Okay, to pull out the grill, you're gonna have 4 of these little things across the top. You just ever so lightly press them down with a screwdriver pick, just so it pulls back maybe 1/8 of an inch. Then you're gonna reach in from here. You're gonna see these. There's gonna be 4 of these tabs. When you reach in, just carefully. I'd start like from one end or the other end, or one side to the other side, the far. push it down carefully without breaking it until you feel it, and just kind of lightly pull on the front of the grill. And you'll feel it dislodge, and just work your way doing the same thing to all of them, and you'll have your grill out. And this was missing the screw that went right here. So means somebody might have had this motor out once already, which wasn't a surprise. 200,000 miles on it. It's the original motor. The engine motor is of 04. So, but I mean, to change just about anything on here, you got to pull the motor, from what I've read. So, all right, we're gonna get continue on. I'll get the grill out of there. Then we take our screws for our bumper cover. Basically, here, and here. I'll probably jack up the tires, take the wheels off, take the wheel well liners out, and then there's 4 or 5 screws along the bottom that hold the front cover on, and then that should be ready to slide that cover out. Okay, so you're gonna have 4 Torx bits along the bottom to take out to get the front fascia off. And somebody's definitely worked on it, because it has no skid plates on it. All the skid plates have been removed. Not that they were skid plates, I probably should call them covers, because they were just plastic. Well, that's too bad. Maybe we'll have to custom make some. Okay, so we pulled the wheel off, and now what we're gonna do, this one has the air suspension intact. So I heard the pump kick on when I turned the key on. Somebody's definitely had it apart, but what we're gonna do is take the fender liner out. So you just go around, and you'll see these Torx bits all the way around, and then you'll have a number 10 plastic nut there, another one right there. And then typically there's 4 more Torx bits here and here. There's one there, and then there should be one there. We got one there. So you just take all the Torx bits out, and those 2 plastic nuts. Fender liner should drop, and then that way we can make sure we're separating here. We don't break it, because this screws into the front cover, I believe. So it's got to come out anyway, so I just like to take it out first to make sure it gives you a good view of everything. And then we should be, I went ahead and already pulled the 4 Torx bits from the bottom of the bumper, and then I took the 3 here, and then the 1 here, and here. And then we'll be able to pull this off here soon. Okay, you can see we got the front bumper cover off. Next, put our screws back in where we pulled them off. Here, so there's 5 screws. So then next thing we're gonna do is pull this grill header off, which will be this screw, this screw, this screw, and this screw. before we can do that, we'll also have to pull this off, these little trim pieces. So it'll be this same screw plus this one, and then these two. That front cover actually slides in and locks here. So when you put it on, pull it off. So we'll do that to the same side on this side, just below the headlights. And look at that. Somebody dropped a bolt from previous work. Yeah, we'll get the header liner off and keep moving. Okay, we got the grill header panel out. We put our screws back in again. We got the trim pieces underneath the light. We'll put the screws back in. Next thing is your intercooler ducts. And these will just slide outward and drop off. And it's easy packed in. Look at that well-designed Volkswagen. All right, so we got that, both of those off. I'll give you make sure you have your battery disconnected already, as we're up here by the airbag sensors next. All right, so we will continue. Next thing we're gonna do is take our horns off. Should just be the one bolt and one electrical connector on each side. Horn and electrical connector. We'll get those off and we'll keep moving. Okay, get the intercooler out. We're gonna need to pull the intercooler boot hose off. Just pull this back, like that. And just work it, and it pops out. So then we gotta get, see if I can get it. This screw right here is the Torx bit. Take that out, and we should be able to pull it out. All right, so we're gonna wanna remove our air boxes right here. Should make it easier. So these are just still plastic screws, pins that you'll pull up on each side, just like that. There should be a hose there. Release this, allows this piece to come back slightly, and then we'll pop the clips, and then there should be a breather tube connected on the other side. We'll slide it up. So I went ahead and removed this intake hose from the throttle body up to the intercooler. It's real easy. You just have them little clips. You slide it about half a quarter inch back and it slides right out. Just gives us more room. Okay, so we're gonna pull the intercooler off. You have 3 bolts, and that's about the only number 10s you'll take off on the front besides your ABS or your airbag sensor. So we'll take this off, this one up here and this one here. That'll loosen off your intercooler, and then inside on the top there's a Torx bit there, and then you got to disconnect the hoses. There's a hose on the bottom of the intercooler which will have oil running out, so be aware. And then the top section. Look at that, I had water in it. That's just nuts. Not much of it either, so I hope the block didn't crack. Yeah, looks like they had water, and there's not even residue in there. Yeah. I think we made a good choice in swapping the motor. I'm gonna tear this one down and see if it's even salvageable. Hopefully. If not, we have that spare block. All right, so we got the front end tore down. Didn't realize the camera quit working, so I don't know how much it got. So now we got on the front on jack stands. I'm gonna crawl underneath and disconnect the exhaust, the transmission shift linkage, the rear drive line, and anything else I can see. I think there's some heater hoses that goes across the bell housing area. I'm gonna see if it's easier to get to with it in the car before we yank it out. Separate the motor, we gotta get those out. So, and then while we're at it, with the jack out of the way, we're gonna take these silly tube steps they got on here. They're pretty pathetic. And they're mounted right where the jack thing points are. And the one on the driver's side is really loose. So they're not serving a purpose other than getting in the way. But we got the lower strut mount bolt removed. We have the sway bar link disconnected and raised up. We got the upper ball joint separated. Brake line disconnected. ABS sensor and brake wear sensor disconnected. The two heater lines right there disconnected. The sensor going to the steering rack and pinions disconnected. Still got to remove some stuff on the front. We're gonna wait till we get what's done in the first, and then we'll start pulling stuff off the back or off the front of the motor. Same thing on this side. Everything's disconnected, ready to go. And here you can actually see the subframe lift that they put on here. They got spacers there, down there, and also on the top of the shock tower, strut tower. So, all right, we'll get this thing tore apart. Okay, so it looks like we lost a bunch of film for the pulling this motor. This is a 2004 V10 TDI. We got everything ready. Take apart. I'm positioning the pallet and the jack right underneath. I'll take off the transmission cross member bolts first with the pallet jack as high as it can go, and hopefully the Touareg just as low as just where it's touching the pallet. Then we'll remove those, and then we'll bring it down a little lower, and then remove the other ones, working our way forward. That's the plan. This one's a little different. I'm hoping I can still swap the motor. I guess worst case is we'll replace that crankshaft position sensor and put it back together. The fuel system's a little different. 06 Touareg, it had the diesel fuel filter over here by the power steering reservoir. This one is right here. And I think it's a 2 filter setup. So we're gonna have to look at that, see how much has changed, and if it's how much work's gonna be to swap over. If not, we'll just replace the crankshaft sensor and get her back together. All right, let's get together. All right, we got the 04 TDI out. You see this exhaust is a lot more simpler, although it looks like it's got 4 catalytic converters, where the other one just had the 2 catalytics and 2 DPFs. This one was easier. Now, just my first initial glance in here. See if the camera can pick it up. Zoom back in. See that center, what I would call a carrier bearing, bushing on the rear drive line, the center link. It is, looks like it's got a tear on the top, so that thing's wore out, which I think because of the lift probably put extra stress on it too. It really, this thing was definitely bound up when I unbolted it from the frame. So that subframe lift definitely it's interesting. So they don't lift the motor mount, the rear motor mount, or actually the motor stays the same. They separate the subframe from the motor. Let me zoom out, sorry. They separate the motor mount from the subframe. And that's, so the subframe's lowered. And I think that's how they can get away with the transmission crossmember not being lowered. But then they go and lower the rear subframe. And one thing they didn't lower, well, because they lowered it, they should have put spacers or something on these catalytic converter. As you can see right there, is where the catalytic converter made that nice groove
into the drive line.
I'm sure that was just zinging along. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to put the subframe spacers back in. Kind of contemplating on putting it back to stock. First we gotta see if we can transfer everything over. Fuel setup is different, so this whole fuel assembly here, I'm gonna have to remove, transfer it over to the other engine. Not bad. It wasn't bad pulling this one. Just took my time, tried to put as much hardware back as possible. Transmission was cleaner. That 06 had a lot of fuel lines and connectors, electrical, a little relay set up right here for the DPF system, I think. So that made it a lot more complicated, but I think what we'll do is I'll order a bushing kit for the driveline and start. You got to separate the motor and the tranny, and then I guess once we separate the motor and tranny, we can put the other motor onto this tranny, bolt it back together. Thinking I'm gonna swap out the driveline, and then we will start swap it. That's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to see what we find wrong with this motor.